was at its lowest levels in over half a century, but President Biden and Democrats acted boldly to deliver a relief package that met the scale of the crisis. And thanks to the American Rescue Plan, the U.S. economy has rebounded faster than anyone predicted. It helped people stay in their homes. We have
33. While some of Biden's proposed changes will affect the high earners and company executives, those who have retirement savings plan on potentially hiring than the average American. Some will affect the middle and low-income wage earners. Analysts have also noted that it will especially affect those who may rely on Social Security benefits in the future. Currently, any earned income below 160 grand is subject to a payroll tax. Earning exceeding that amount are not subject to any taxes. Biden plans to tax the earned income above 400 grand, leaving wages above 160 grand, up to 400,000 untaxed. Each year, Social Security benefits are addressed and based on inflation adjusted through a cost of living allowance. Currently, the administration uses this to calculate the COLA, but this doesn't necessarily reflect the lifestyle and expenses of retired people. Shifting COLA calculations to figures tied to the Consumer Price Index for the elderly won't even solve the problem for Social Security running out of money. It could just put more money into the pockets of retired Americans who need it the most. The Primary Insurance Trust Fund is an amount indicating that how much Americans will receive in Social Security benefits. It all depends on your age, when you began claiming benefits, and your average index monthly earnings. Increasing the primary insurance amount for Americans ages 72 to 82 would help those experiencing and also healthcare. The low-wage earners receive a special minimum benefit regardless of how much they made while they worked. In 2023, a lifetime low working earner would receive $12,000 in Social Security benefits or $1,000 a month. Biden intends to increase the minimum benefit to 125% of the federal poverty level for an individual. An example in 2023 is someone receiving a special minimum benefit will receive $1,500 per month with the boost. However, any Social Security overall plan would require the bipartisan support in Washington, and so far Democrats and Republicans haven't been able to see eye to eye in some ways. But fears of a recession have mounted since the Federal Reserve began hiking interest rates in early 2022. Because according to a chief of economists, although the latest gross domestic product figures indicated growth, a recession could still be imminent. With rampant inflation, Americans are grappling with wages that struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living and things like this. But just about 28% of people say they approve of a fourth stimulus check.
We've all seen content creators.
Do you agree with this, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below. So will you be receiving a stimulus check this month? I know that's the question that many of you want to be answered. Listen to this. You are eligible to receive more stimulus checks from a new federal program. This is really great because it's going to help so many people that are financially struggling due to the crisis. So remember folks, on this channel, I always do my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check and Social Security news. So it really means a lot to me if you could subscribe to the channel.
An executive order to ensure that the federal government puts you, the American people, at the front of the line and for first in everything we do. I'm directing 17 agencies here to focus on more than 30 key areas to make it easier to apply for services and benefits that they're entitled to, they paid for, theirs, their government.
Now back to the breaking news, folks. The Restaurant Meals program also covers people with disabilities and people experiencing homelessness. The program is most widely available in California and Arizona. But some really good news is that many states across the country are beginning to have this program available. States like Maryland and Illinois are starting up their operations for this relief program right now, which is really good to know. It can be very difficult right now to buy groceries, especially with prices rising very quickly. Sadly, the inflation rates are hiking up, and that's a key measure of inflation climbed to a level not seen since June of 1982, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
Once again, those at the very top get the biggest breaks, and what do we have to show for it? Even our Republicans.
You may be eligible to receive a bonus check worth up to $500. And now 20 states have already failed to raise the minimum wage above the federal $7.25 an hour standard. 16, everybody, have more than 12% of their children living in poverty. And anti-poverty advocates say that it's a sign there's an urgent need for lawmakers to increase the funding and do more to help struggling families. Congress had the opportunity to achieve the latter by expanding the child tax credit before the end of the year, but lawmakers just didn't arrive at a deal with Republicans to include it in a spending bill. Some say that raising the minimum wage would not lead to as fast or drastic of an improvement. However, according to analysis, in 2019, increasing the amount to $15 an hour would lift more than 500,000 people out of poverty, and the Economic Policy Institute estimated in 2021 that if Congress passed a $15 minimum wage increase by 2025, up to 4 million people wouldn't even have to live in poverty, 1.3 million of those being children. But there are lawmakers in Congress that want to continue to send families monetary relief checks. So far, Congressman Adam Schiff has sent a letter, and he's urging the House to extend the expanded child tax credit as soon as possible. The child tax credit monthly payments are used by millions of families in California and across the country to pay for necessities including food, rent, and educational expenses. This American Rescue Plan has actually critically expanded its reach and benefits, folks, increasing monthly checks and the number of eligible recipients by removing an earnings requirement that kept the lowest income families from claiming the full credit. But so far, between July and December, child poverty was slashed by nearly 40% to reach a record low of 5.2, and now 3 million people were lifted out of poverty in a single month. But Congress has put nearly 10 million children nationwide at risk of falling deeper and deeper into poverty, as they did not pass a bill to continue this expansion. But as House Democrats put forward the biggest legislative priorities over the next 4 weeks, Adam Schiff is urging that an extension of the child tax credit is included to any year-end package. The expanded child tax credit provided a lifeline to more than 65.6 million children nationwide and nearly 8 million people in California, folks. So far, everybody. According to data from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, since the expansion expired, an estimated 20 million children nationwide have been unable to claim the full payment. And then we have another thing to talk about, folks. It's a Democratic lawmakers introducing the new bill to increase the state child tax credit for working families. This is done in efforts to address rising levels of poverty in the city and states of New York. And this is pretty good because it now means that stimulus payments could be sending out more and be sent out now in 2022 and 2024 and even in 2025. A bill to create the New York State Working Families Credit would actually increase the state child tax credit program to the $1,500 per child from $500 and expand eligibility to children under age 4 and families making some pretty no money. Families actually would be paid quarterly, and since single taxpayers making adjusted gross income of $25,000 or less, or couples making $50,000 or less who file a joint return, they would be eligible for the benefit. The State Department of Taxation and Finance would assess a family's eligibility for the credit through income filings from their annual tax return. The U.S. also started in 2023 yet again as one of the few wealthy nations without any national paid family leave or paid sick leave program. Folks, this is bad because with Congress divided, advocates are turning to states to bolster benefits for workers and families, and the Democrats attempt to pass 4 weeks of paid federal family leave to fall apart in the U.S. Senate, leaving a patchwork of rules for workers and businesses to navigate across. The state-by-state nature of this is pretty dangerous. Of the rules means that millions of Americans, millions of families are in need of help